Chapter 14. More Lives Than a Cat. Harkness pushed his horse as fast as he dared, but in spite of his best efforts, the sun was gone from sight by the time he reached Short Hills on the return trip. Avoiding the entrance to the valley, he climbed straight up over the ridge and, after some difficulty, located the cache. Kittering wasn't there, and Harkness watered his horse and staked him out to graze, after which he hid the supplies under the rocks and started off on foot through the trees. From the ridgetop at the foot of the valley, he looked down towards the cabin and saw the yellow glow of lights shining through the elders. Dusk was thick and blue on the hills. In the sheltered cup of the valley, it was already night. Somewhere along these ridges, Kittering should be on watch, and Harkness prepared to go in search for him. As he stopped, there came faintly to his ears the faint popping of shots. He stopped and strained his ears to listen, but the air was quiet again, and for a moment he hesitated, wondering if he should get on his horse and go and investigate, but the sound had been so far and faint that he might easily have imagined it, and he did not then connect it in his mind with Kittering. The puncher was supposed to have stayed in the valley and keep out of trouble. Harkness believed that he was somewhere nearby. He did not suspect that Kittering might have deserted the cabin and gone off on another errand altogether. So he dismissed the shots from his mind and then continued along the top of the ridge. But after some 20 minutes of search, he had still found no sign of the puncher, and he began to get a little worried. Still, he dared not call out. Then things began to happen, as they usually happen, with speed and suddenness. A dark figure rose from the bushes behind him, and thinking that he had at last found Kittering, he started forward, only to recoil from the blunt muzzle of a revolver. The words that had risen to his lips had died in strangulation. His hands went up over his head automatically. "Who are you?" the man behind the gun demanded. Peering at him in the dark, Harkness noticed first the tremendous blunt power of the man's shoulders and arms, and then he saw that he was wearing overalls with a bib, more like a farmer than a cowboy. He was obviously not with the Lazy Bar X, and a sudden wild guess as to his identity flashed through the ranger's mind. For an answer, he lowered one arm, unbuttoned his shirt, and the star gleamed faintly. "A ranger!" Slocum exclaimed. His revolver drooped, and after a minute's hesitation, he put it away. "What are you doing here?" "Right now I'm looking for Jim Kittering," Harkness replied, buttoning his shirt. "He's supposed to be here, keeping an eye on your cabin. You'd be Slocum, wouldn't you?" "That's right, but I don't understand this about Kittering. What was it you said?" "I said he was supposed to be watching the cabin. Ever since you strayed off the range, he had been down there keeping Wilding's men off. And the first night he beat them off and killed 3 of them. And this morning when Doc Martin came, Kittering went out to look for you. He ran into me having a little trouble with the Lazy Bar X and joined the fracas. If it wasn't for him, I'd have been in a bad way. They pulled out and we got back here and we found out that they were hiding in the cabin waiting for us. So Kittering stayed to watch, and I went to High Springs to pack up some grub. And I was supposed to meet him here." Slocum had listened in silence, and in the dark the ranger couldn't see his face. And now, to Harkness' astonishment, the homesteader struck himself a powerful blow with his clenched fist. "Somebody ought to shoot me for a lunatic fool," he said bitterly. "Just a plain damned fool. If that boy's dead, I'll—" "Dead?" Harkness cried. He seized Slocum by the arm. "What do you mean?" Slocum told him, and Harkness could see that he writhed in shame and anguish as he spoke. Some of the ranger's own shock was dissipated before the older man's misery, and he put out a hand. "Well, maybe it ain't as bad as you think," he said. "Maybe he got away before they got there. His horse must have been close by. You didn't take it, did you?" "No, I didn't take him," Slocum whispered. Harkness shook his head. I was sent down here to clear up an old fracas between you and Bates, and I done rode into a even worse one. Kittering could do more than both of us put together, but maybe it ain't too late yet. I think maybe I better ride over to Needle Butte way. He stopped, and down the valley came the sound of a galloping horse. Somebody's coming to the cabin, Harkness said tensely. Let's get down there where we can see. They scrambled down the hillside and slipped in amongst the trees behind the cabin, and from this position they could see the open door and the yellow of the light that spilled out onto the grass. Two men with rifles stood outside the zone of light waiting, and as the invisible horse pounded swiftly near, one of them raised his voice in a challenging shout. "It's me! It's Ballard!" came the answer. Slocum poked the ranger. "That's the bugger who is guarding me." Ballard's horse swept into the light, and the cowboy sprang down. "I thought you was over on Needle Butte," said one of the men. "Slocum got away." "Got away?" "Yeah. Kittering turned him loose and forgot to go with him. So I jumped him, and when the boys got there, we was getting all set for a necktie party when he seemed to slip his halter and got away. Then he runs right into the sheriff and gets himself arrested just in time to save his sorry old skin. That hombre, he's got more lives than a darn old cat." Beside him, Harkness heard Slocum's breath go out in a long sigh of relief. He gave the homesteader a warning nudge, but his own spirits had leapt immediately, and the gloom that had settled on him a few minutes ago was gone. "Well, what are we supposed to do now?" one of the men demanded. "Well, I guess just stay here and watch for Slocum. I'm staying with you all. Wilding, he's going on to the High Springs to see that Kittering gets what's coming to him." He then moved towards the door. "Got anything to drink here?" "Yeah, some roach poison. You're welcome to that." As the door closed behind them, Harkness turned to Slocum. "Didn't see any sign of the doc or your daughter, did you?" "No, I reckon they must be inside." "Well, now look, there's a lot of grub in that cache over on the ridge. We'll tote it back here, and then I got an idea how to smoke them there pilgrims out of that cabin. Come on." Loading onto the ranger's horse, the bundle of supplies was carried over the ridge with a good deal of stumbling in the darkness, and then deposited behind the cabin. "For guards, them gents are pretty careless. We could steal the shack right out from under them, and they wouldn't even find out till it rained." He led his horse out from the trees. "Stay right here," he whispered, "and get ready to back my play. You got your shooting irons? Good." Silently, horse and man blended into the night. Slocum waited, a gun in each hand. A few 100 yards down the trail, Harkness mounted his horse, clapping in the spurs and thundering down upon the cabin at a full gallop, and the door was flung open and the three cowboys spilled out into the lit doorway. Their rifles flashed briefly as they took up positions in the shadows. Harkness pounded up and found 3 guns leveled at him. "Is there an hombre here by the name of Ballard?" he demanded. "Well, that's me," Ballard volunteered. "I just come from High Springs. I got a message for you." "A message?" The rifles were lowered. "What is it?" "It's this. There's a man with a gun standing right behind you. Don't make any sudden motions, 'cause he's right nervous and he's liable to blow your heads off. Speak up, Slocum, and tell these gents that you're here." "I'm here, all right, and I'm itching for some trouble," Slocum growled. The cowboys froze. "Now just let go of them guns. Let 'em fall to the ground. That's right, Slocum. Would you relieve your friends of those shooting irons? They look awfully heavy." He swung down from the saddle to pick up the rifles. "Is Dr. Martin in there? Hey, Doc! Doc Martin!" The doctor came out quickly, shouting at the sight of Slocum. "Doc, will you help me with these hombres while Slocum says howdy to his daughter? Take one of them 6 guns while I do a little bit of fancy tying. Slocum hastened into the cabin, and Doc Martin held the gun while Harkness performed his fancy tying job. There, reckon that'll hold 'em. Now let's go get acquainted. He found Helen sitting on the bed, eager for news of Kittering. In spite of their captivity, the doctor had managed to take care of her, and some of her strength and color had returned. She looked fresh and lovely, and the ranger gazed at her with approval. They gathered around for a council of war. At Harkness' suggestions, backed by Helen, it was decided that Slocum and Doc Martin were to hold the cabin, and Harkness was to ride at once to High Springs to see if he could be of any help to Kittering. And I reckon I'll just take those 3 Injuns along with me, and leave them where they can't do no harm. We can't keep 'em here, he added. So, for the second time that day, Harkness started for town. Herded before him the 3 lazy Bar X men tied securely to their saddles. He left a miniature fort, prepared for a siege, with Slocum busy making heavy shutters for the windows, and the doctor cleaning and oiling the 3 rifles and 5 pistols that they had captured. Halfway between Box Elder and High Springs, Harkness checked the horses, and then cut his prisoners' ropes and forced them to dismount. Start walking, hombres. It's a long way to town. The men glared at him. We ain't forgetting this little trick, one of them warned. Next time you see any of us, you better come a-shooting. I'd be delighted, Harkness grinned. Sure hope you all get your chance and don't get et by coyotes between here and High Springs. See you later. He then cantered off with their horses, grinning as he thought how quickly the shooting would have started if they had recognized him as the man they had chased early that morning. A couple miles further on, he stripped the saddles and bridles from the horses and let them go, dumping the harnesses on the ground. Then he rode towards High Springs with the glow of one who had done a good deed extremely well. End of chapter 14.